The film opens with a broadcast reporting on a mysterious parasitic worm virus that is spread across various parts of the world. Its origin is unknown, and authorities are still trying to determine where and how it began. A critical piece of information is revealed. This virus is transmitted through bodily fluids and direct blood contact. Anyone exposed to infected blood becomes contaminated rapidly and violently. The story then shifts focus to a teenage girl named Emma, who is quiet and introverted by nature. She takes time to adjust to new environments, which makes her different from her older sister Stacy, who is outgoing and quick to make friends. The two sisters have just transferred to a new high school after their father, Michael, took a new job as a biology teacher there. In their biology class, the students are instructed to dissect frogs. Emma visibly struggles with disgust during the activity, prompting her father to offer her a peppermint to help ease her nausea. After class ends and school is dismissed, Emma and Stacy wait outside for their father to pick them up. While waiting, Stacy notices that Emma has a crush on their neighbor, Evan. Knowing that Emma lacks the courage to talk to him, Stacy takes the initiative and calls Evan over, offering him a ride home with them. A little embarrassed but grateful, Emma watches as Evan agrees. Soon after, Michael arrives and gives Evan a lift home. When they arrive at the neighborhood, their friendly neighbor briefly greets them before they all part ways and head into their respective houses. Evan thanks them for the ride and heads inside. Later that evening, Emma, Stacy, and their father share dinner together. During the meal, it becomes clear that Stacy and Michael have a tense relationship. Their parents are having marital issues, and the lack of harmony affects the family dynamic. Later that night, Emma calls her friend Gracie. Gracie shares that she's not feeling well. Her mother has just returned from a trip and is now coughing up blood. Gracie then shows Emma a disturbing video clip that has been circulating online. The footage shows a woman being attacked in an elevator by a man who vomits blood onto her. The incident took place in China. Although shocked, the girls dismiss it, thinking it's too far away to worry about. Their conversation is interrupted when a paper airplane flies into Emma's room through the window. It turns out to be a note from Evan, who threw it up from the floor below to say hi. Flustered and excited, Emma ends her call with Gracie and quickly heads downstairs to meet him. They share a brief and slightly awkward conversation until Evan's father comes outside and embarrasses him by teasing about the interaction. Feeling uncomfortable, Evan ends the conversation and returns home. Before parting, they agree to talk again the next day at school. The following day at school, while the students are watching a video presentation in class, Gracie suddenly begins to cough violently, then coughs up blood. Terrified, she runs out of the classroom. Emma, deeply worried, chases after her. Moments later, Emma finds Gracie in a severe state, convulsing on the floor. Panicked, Emma calls for help. A man nearby rushes in to assist Gracie, seemingly unaware of the danger. As he leans in, Gracie vomits blood directly onto his face, potentially infecting him. In the aftermath, Emma is taken by the school's medical team for examination. She fears that she may have also been infected, but fortunately, her test results come back clear. Soon after, the school receives an emergency notice announcing its immediate closure. Authorities order a full quarantine, instructing everyone to stay home and avoid contact with others. Shortly after the lockdown announcement, Emma's mother calls Michael, concerned about their daughters. Michael assures her that the girls are safe and that they will return home soon. He decides to head to the airport to pick up his wife, asking Stacy and Emma to go home first with their neighbor for safety. On their way home, the girls begin to notice rising panic across the town. People are rushing, confused, and afraid as the severity of the outbreak begins to unfold. Emma arrives home and immediately senses that everything around her is changing. The once normal neighborhood now feels eerily silent. Not long after, their father, Michael, contacts them via phone. He explains that he won't be able to return home anytime soon because the entire town has now been placed under strict quarantine. To make matters worse, he never made it to the airport and has been forced into lockdown elsewhere. While Emma is visibly concerned by the call, Stacy reacts quite differently. She seems almost pleased that their father won't be around, believing it gives her the freedom to do whatever she wants. Later that evening, the television broadcasts a special news alert. The situation has escalated. The military is now involved, and national emergency protocols are being enforced across the country. That night, Emma hears a strange noise coming from outside. Curious and cautious, she peers out the window and is startled by a figure rushing past their front yard. Her anxiety rises until she realizes it was just CJ, Stacy's boyfriend. Relieved, Emma shifts her attention to Gracie and searches for any update on her condition through local news sources. Thankfully, she finds a report indicating that Gracie is in stable condition and recovering. The news brings a momentary sense of comfort. The next day, Emma sees a box being dropped off in front of their house by a group of soldiers. Inside the box are emergency supplies provided by the government, including food, water, masks, and other items to help residents shelter safely at home. Soon after, another breaking news report announces that several infected patients have escaped from quarantine zones. The government considers these individuals highly dangerous due to how easily the parasite spreads, especially through contact with bodily fluids. Later, as Emma focuses on schoolwork, Stacy casually informs her that she and CJ are planning to attend a party that night. Emma immediately objects, warning her about the danger outside and how serious the outbreak has become. But Stacy, ever stubborn and carefree, ignores the warning. Moments later, Emma receives a notification on her phone from Evan. To her shock, she discovers that Stacy had used her phone to invite Evan to the same party. Feeling pressured, Emma reluctantly agrees to go. When they arrive at the party, Emma is disturbed by how carefree everyone seems. No one is taking the outbreak seriously. The mood is light, music is loud, and everyone acts as though nothing is wrong. Eventually, Emma finds Evan and the two spend time together. For a brief moment, Emma allows herself to relax. As the party goes on, Evan invites Emma upstairs to talk privately. They find a quiet room, but their conversation is interrupted by the sound of shouting. Emma goes to investigate and discovers that the commotion is coming from Stacy, furious after catching CJ cheating on her with another girl. Distraught, Stacy storms out of the room with Emma chasing after her to calm her down. But in the chaos, neither of them realizes that one of the partygoers is actually one of the infected escapees mentioned in the news. The infected man begins to violently spread the parasite among the guests. Panic erupts. In a matter of moments, the party descends into chaos. Screaming guests rush to escape as blood and parasitic transmission spread rapidly. Emma and Stacy take cover in a nearby room, hiding in fear. When Emma peeks outside, she is horrified to witness the infected attacking others, forcefully vomiting blood into their faces, passing on the parasite through mucosal contact. As things quiet down slightly, the sisters attempt to sneak out, but just as they begin to move, they are attacked by one of the infected. The assailant almost spits blood onto Emma, but Stacy intervenes and knocks the attacker back, unintentionally getting splashed in the face herself. They both watch in horror as a tiny worm wriggles into Stacy's eye. Emma, stunned and helpless, realizes her sister might be infected. Just then, Evan appears and saves them by hitting the infected man unconscious. With the situation spiraling out of control, the three of them flee the scene and rush back home. Once home, Stacy immediately runs to the bathroom to clean herself, desperately hoping she hasn't been infected. Meanwhile, Emma anxiously scrolls through social media. The internet is flooded with speculation, conspiracy theories, and terrifying videos about the so-called worm flu, now widely acknowledged as a full-blown pandemic. The next morning, health officials arrive at Emma and Stacy's house to conduct medical checks on them and other nearby residents. Fortunately, Stacy still shows no severe symptoms, and Emma is also cleared during the examination. However, not long after, Stacy begins to sense something is wrong inside her body. Later that day, another emergency broadcast reports that the virus has now spread across most of the city. Authorities confirm that infected individuals behave erratically, almost like zombies, and are capable of spreading the parasite to others through mucus and blood contact. Suddenly, the broadcast is cut off, and the signal disappears along with all internet connectivity. Moments later, a nationwide emergency alert instructs all civilians to remain indoors and lock their homes until further notice. This news deeply unsettles Emma and Stacy, especially since they haven't heard from either of their parents in days. As night falls, Emma is startled to see several flares being launched into the sky from different parts of the neighborhood. These flares serve as distress signals to notify military patrols that infected people are present at specific locations. Soon after, Soldiers arrive nearby to extract one of their neighbors who is suspected of being infected. But even more flares light up the sky from various directions, indicating that the outbreak is rapidly spiraling out of control. The sisters realize the situation is becoming far too dangerous and decide to leave their home in search of a safer place. However, during their journey through the darkened streets, they are suddenly stopped at a military checkpoint. Armed soldiers have blocked the road and order them to turn back, refusing to let anyone leave the area. A vehicle ahead attempts to break through only to be shot and destroyed on the spot. Horrified by what they witness, Emma and Stacy have no choice but to return home, fearful that the same fate might await them if they disobey. Back at the house, Stacy becomes increasingly aware of the parasite growing inside her. She tries to force it out from the base of her neck, but the pain is unbearable. The parasite is now feeding and spreading from within, weakening her body. Later, during dinner, Stacy opens up to Emma about why their parents had separated. She reveals that their father had cheated, which forced their mother to leave temporarily. It's at this moment that Emma realizes the real reason why their father decided to move and start over in a new place. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. On edge, they hesitate to answer until they hear a familiar voice. It's Evan. He rushes inside and explains that his father has been infected and is now chasing him. Emma cautiously peers through the front window, only to be startled when Evan's infected father suddenly appears right outside. Panicked, Stacy grabs some masks and prepares to defend them. Moments later, Evan's father crashes through a window and begins searching the house. Evan warns Emma to stay quiet. Infected hosts have heightened sensitivity to sound and movement. The parasite within Evan's father begins to emerge from both ears, sensing the presence of nearby hosts. As the infected man lunges toward Emma, Stacy acts fast and shoots him in the head with a pistol, instantly neutralizing the threat. However, in the aftermath of the encounter, Stacy begins to convulse, proof that the parasite has now spread throughout her body. Emma and Evan quickly lock Stacy in a separate room to protect her, and themselves. Inside, an emotional argument erupts. Evan insists they should inform the military so that Stacy can be taken away before she becomes a danger. But Emma refuses. She's determined to find a way to cure her sister and won't allow the military to take her. Evan warns that if soldiers search the house and discover Stacy is infected, they might kill them all without hesitation. Trying to avoid that outcome, Emma comes up with a plan. She paints a symbol on the front of their house to make it appear abandoned, hoping this will deter military inspection. That night, Emma stays up, driven by desperation and love for her sister. She begins to recall what her father had once taught her about parasites. He explained how certain parasites could be removed by sealing their airways, forcing them to exit the body in search of oxygen. Inspired, Emma devises a method using household tools. She plans to block the parasite's access to air, and when it surfaces, she'll extract it manually. Before Emma could begin the extraction process, she and Evan decided to leave the house briefly in search of a signal. Unbeknownst to them, CJ, Stacy's boyfriend, who was unaware of everything that had happened, arrived at the house. Hearing his voice, Stacy begged CJ to let her out of the room she had been locked in. As he approached her, Stacy suddenly attacked him, driven by the parasite within her, and killed him. Moments later, Emma and Evan returned home and were horrified to find CJ's lifeless body. Stacy, in shock, confessed that it was the parasite's influence. It had taken over, and she could no longer control herself. In the aftermath of the tragedy, Evan buried CJ beside his father's grave while Emma focused on preparing a sedative mixture for Stacy. She carefully added the concoction to Stacy's food, hoping it would suppress her enough to perform the extraction. As the medicine took effect and Stacy slipped into unconsciousness, Emma swiftly applied duct tape over the breathing hole near the base of Stacy's neck, cutting off the parasite's oxygen supply. Sure enough, the worm-like parasite began to writhe, suffocating from the lack of air. Slowly, it emerged from the wound. Overcoming her revulsion, Emma grabbed the parasite and began pulling it out. Just as she did, Stacy woke up and, realizing what was happening, also pulled at the parasite, now enormous in size, as it slithered out of her body. Once it was fully out, Evan stepped in and crushed the parasite underfoot, killing it. Stacy, now free of the infection, finally believed it was truly over. But after that, Emma had a terrifying dream in which Stacy transformed into something monstrous. When she awoke, she realized it wasn't just a dream. Stacy had relapsed. She had taken most of their food supplies and fled the house. Alarmed, Emma and Evan set out to find her. They soon tracked her to a nearby house. Upon entering, they were horrified to discover corpses scattered throughout the building, victims of the parasite. As they ventured deeper, they stumbled upon what appeared to be a gathering place for the infected, possibly a nesting ground. While trying to remain hidden, Emma accidentally tripped over debris, alerting the infected to their presence. Panic set in as Emma and Evan were chased through the house. They raced upstairs, desperately looking for a way out. In one of the rooms, they found Stacy, frightened and resigned. She begged Emma to end her suffering, claiming she couldn't live like this anymore. Emma, heartbroken, refused. She insisted that Stacy was cured, but her hope shattered when Stacy's body suddenly convulsed and began transforming. In the struggle, Emma accidentally pulled the trigger of her weapon, shooting her sister. As the infected closed in, Evan quickly pulled Emma toward a window. With no other way out, they climbed onto the roof. From there, they heard the deafening sound of military aircraft overhead, preparing to bomb the infected zones. Just before the house was obliterated, Emma and Evan leapt from the rooftop into a pool below, narrowly escaping the explosion. The next day, after the city had been reduced to ruins, Emma and Evan, bruised but alive, wandered through the remnants of what was once their neighborhood. They arrived at a small shop and found a bulletin board with photographs pinned to it. To Emma's surprise, she recognized a picture of her family. Behind it, a handwritten note from her father instructed her to head to her uncle's home, where both of her parents were waiting for them. Overwhelmed with relief, Emma now knew where they had to go. As the final shot lingers on the destroyed landscape, the film ends.
If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing, you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.